Folks in here are related to us.
So the first Andrews,
The what?
the first Andrews
He's not here.
is not here.
He's not here.
No,
No,
That came over.
he's in.
George.
He's
Where
in.
is George?
He's in. He's buried in Barton, up the road. But to get the story straight, there was a George and who was Evelyn?
Yeah. There's George.
There was George, and what was the next one?
John A.
No.
John Senior.
No.
And there's
George was
William.
George was John's grandfather. Who was George's father? Joseph?
Oh, Joseph. Yeah.
Joseph. George was the original man from England. He stayed in England. Joseph was a Navy man, and he came to Canada, got posted to Halifax. At the time, his uncle on his mother's side. Now his mother was a Vine, and that's why you see a lot of Vines here.
Yeah.
John Vine. They wanted to keep the Vine name in the family. It would be the same as your mother's name. They wanted to keep the Vine name in the family, and they did. You'll see throughout. Every time there was a John, there's a John Vine. Matter of fact, my great-grandfather, William, was William Vine. They wanted to keep the Vine in the family, so they would know that Andrews line was the Andrews Vine. So anyhow, he came to Halifax, and he got in a big argument with us. He was an officer too, and his uncle, Vine, was the base commander. But he got in an argument with a senior officer, and his uncle gave him the ultimatum. You either apologize and get it right, or you retire. So he retired. Yes, on you. So he took his family, which was my great-grandfather, John, was only a young fella. He took his family to Yarmouth, and he opened a survey school, and he taught survey. And he was the surveyor in the Navy. When he was in Yarmouth doing quite well, his grandfather in England, George, says, "Come on home, son. The farm is big enough for the two of us. I'm almost ready to retire. You come home, run the farm, and when I pass on, you can have the farm." So they left Yarmouth, and they went to go to Halifax to get on a ship to go back to England. And they got to Annapolis. He got sick and went into the hospital, and he died with pneumonia. Died. So the will, and in the meantime, his father in England died. And in his grandfather's will in England said the farm is to go to Joseph. If anything happens to Joseph, it goes to the middle son. The middle son. There was three sons. The middle son of Joseph's family, and which was John Jr. or John Sr. And that's John Sr. is the original of this area. But at the time, they were in Annapolis. They had no money to go any further. She came here in North Range and lived in North Range. When he became 18, he was old enough to go claim his farm in England. So he went to Halifax to get a lawyer. And in the meantime, John was in the Navy, something to do with the Navy. But he had a friend in Halifax that was also in the Navy, but he was also a lawyer. So we went and saw him. Not navies, they were masons together. That's what it was. They were masons together. So his friend, the lawyer, said, "What is it going to cost you to fight this?" In the meantime, the family on the Vine side put a claim to the farm. His cousin. And they were going to fight it in court, because this Vine in England felt that that farm belonged to him, not to John. Also, the offer was £5,000. £5,000, 1,800 and something.
That's a lot of money.
1,807. £5,000 in 1,800 and something, which at that time was worth about $4 a pound at that time. And anyhow, his lawyer in Halifax suggested to John, take the money, because if you don't, you're going to use every cent you got to fight it, and you may not even win. So take the $5,000 and run. So he took the $5,000. And down the road here, he's got a house. The house had 7 fireplaces in it. At one time, there were 3 families, and my George, on my side of the family, was part of the family, and he had a big family. There were 3 families living in there. And anyhow, the John that originally that came in this area, I guess his mother passed away in the meantime, and 2 brothers of his both went to the South Shore. The one in Mahone Bay was a founder of Mahone Bay, and what was the other one? The other
Bridgewater.
town? Bridgewater.
Yeah.
The other one was the founder of Bridgewater. John's 2 brothers, and John stayed on this side of the land, and they went over to the South Shore. But anyhow, George, John's oldest son, John told him, he says, "You look after me and your mother, and you can have the homestead, but you have to bury us." So they buried him in the Barton's grave. That's the church that they belonged to. At the time, I guess there was no church in North Rains. The closest one at that time was out in Barton. And William, one of the 3 original sons, is buried in Barton, and George is buried in Barton, as far as I know, and John's here. This is the one we just read. This is the other son right here. This is the other son right here. Of John, of the original John. Right here. Yep. He died 1833. He was born. His father was born. The original John was 1770 something. So they've been around for a while. They've been around for a while. Yep.
So the homestead is still there?
No, but the imprints of the ground, I know where it is, but it's all grown up in bush. And
that
if
would
you
be
fight your way
your
through the
original
bush,
homestead.
pardon?
That would be your original homestead. Like your family's
family.
original
Oh yeah,
homestead.
oh absolutely, yeah, absolutely,
We should go buy that.
absolutely, yeah. And his first wife is Charles A. Andrews, my grandfather. His first wife, she was a cook, and she was married. She was born, or she's buried at the cook's farm. In those days, back in 25, they didn't have
You could have a plot on your own land.
You got a plot in your own land, and it was legal. It was legal. You could do it. So we made one of them for her too, and that's back there too. Yeah, that's back there.